What's up? I couldn't hear myself.
Premature conversation.
Yeah, man. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dharma Guy here on Dharma Time, here on WPSN99.com. As always, with the Dupe Doctor. What's up, man?
Yep. Your energy was a little low. What's up with that?
I was distracted.
Was it distracted,
yeah.
or are you a little depressed still?
So you're going to go there.
Well,
really? You're going to just start off the top, just like that.
You just sound a little depressed. So you want to introduce everything first before I start busting your balls?
Oh, my God, dude. Really? All right.
Well,
All right. I think Maynard's already started. There we go. I see he's already started. So.
You might as well go ahead and finish the intros.
All right. So as I was saying, welcome to Dharma Time here on WPSN99.com. We are talking. We're talking mental health in schools today, but there's some house cleaning I gotta get done, and I'm avoiding it. But regardless, first and foremost, as always, make sure if you or anybody you know is struggling with the disease of addiction, you got a friend or family member, somebody you come across, or struggling, they don't know who to call, they don't know what to do, they can call us at 833-NOW-MATTERS. That's 833-NOW-MATTERS, or you can go to nowmattersmore.org, and you can fill out an application there. You can also donate or check out who we are and what we do.
We should be the Dope Busters.
Nice, I like that.
Who are you going to call?
Dope Busters. All right, so before we get on to our actual topic, what does he say? We're talking about the okay.
You know what he's saying.
I got to look up what I'm supposed to say.
You don't even have to see what he's posting to know what he's saying.
I know the idea of what he's posting.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
For those of you who haven't been watching the show, yes, I'm going to get to our point today. I'm going to get to the topic, which is mental health in public schools here in Florida. They came up with basically a rule now that all schools in Florida have to have 5 hours with their mental health for middle school and high school.
Right.
However, before we get to that, there was a huge game on Sunday. I am a 49ers fan, and one of our listeners, Michael Maynard from the Kansas City Chiefs, he is a big Chiefs fan, and him and I had a little wager over the weekend. He reached out to me and says we need to have a friendly bet, and essentially I am supposed to say, let me get it, I'm going to say it verbatim.
Oh, it's a plan thing. Specific word,
verbiage. He wanted me to say.
All right.
Let's see. That the Chiefs are great, and that my team never had a chance because they were superior. That's what I'm supposed to say. So the Chiefs were superior. My team never had a chance, and the Chiefs are great. Having said that,
go Chiefs.
He didn't say what I could say after all that. So I will say, because I am going to talk a little bit of trash.
My homie.
No, I'm a 49ers fan, true and blue. Been that way since I was born. You know, I'm always going to support my team. However,
that's like saying you're born with like an ailment.
No, I mean I was born when the Super Bowl.
You were born a 49ers
fan.
Poor
Sunday,
guy.
on the Super Bowl.
Poor. Oh, were you really?
Yeah.
You were really born on the Super Bowl?
Yeah, Super Bowl Sunday. I was born January 25th.
And who won that Super Bowl?
It used to be every 4 years. My birthday would fall on the Super Bowl.
And who won?
Until they switched it to February.
And who won that Super Bowl that you were born on?
I used to think it was the 49ers, but when I looked it up, I think it was the one right before it.
Which is
I don't remember.
Somebody Google that.
But regardless,
What year?
81.
81. Somebody Google that. Go ahead.
I digress. We won the 81 season.
Okay.
But the actual 81 Super Bowl I was born on was somebody else, I believe. Regardless, you know what? I think we did a decent game, but we choked. We choked horribly in the fourth quarter. We got away from who we are. We didn't run. It was bad. But in all due respect, if there's anybody else I could lose to, I'm okay to losing to Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Yeah. I think Andy Reid got a lot of respect from me.
Yeah.
He's been upstanding in his entire career in the NFL. Yeah. He's a good guy. Everybody loves him. I'm happy to see him get one. And I think Patrick Mahomes, Mahomes' magic is real. I like Mahomes. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. That's why it was so hard to go against him, because I root for him, but obviously I'd much rather than 49ers win. I do believe we'll be there next year. Hopefully we won't choke it again. But so anyways, congratulations to the Chiefs. I know you're happy. It's been 50 years since they've had it.
Congratulations to everybody in Kansas City.
Yeah, man. And I was originally born in Missouri, so I mean, I get it. Like, I'm from that area, but still, I'm not a Chiefs fan. My brother and I never talk really, but he couldn't help to talk some trash to me. So,
but how do you become a Niners fan when you're not born in San Francisco or all that? Like, how does that happen?
It was during the Super Bowl. Like, once again,
but now that you found out you weren't born during the 49ers Super Bowl. Can't you change it?
Doesn't change it though. Well, because I was that year, like they won.
They
the
were
Super
still
Bowl.
good though. They
were great. Yeah. Anyways, I digress. What did you say? We were talking about the Chiefs. Trying to see what I'm posting.
That fourth quarter, I disagree, Marissa. That fourth quarter was awesome. That fourth quarter was brilliance.
Yeah, if you're a Chiefs fan,
dude, I'm not even a Chiefs fan, but to watch a team put together.
See, I think it was more us choking.
21-0.
Hold
No,
on. One of the,
no.
Hold
You
on.
got beat.
One of those was garbage.
21.
One of those was garbage. That running up the side was garbage. It was
No,
like a
dude,
minute left.
you didn't catch him.
That was garbage.
Following him.
We all
Still
gave
ran
up
after
at that
him.
point.
No,
Not really. No, they gave
their
up
fault.
about halfway.
No, that's because he was like 20 lengths ahead.
They gave up.
Whatever.
They won. We got beat.
21-0.
We choked.
0 points. But that's part of championships.
Yeah, we choked. Somebody's got to choke
He
and somebody's
threw
got
the
to win.
pass. Look, a Super Bowl champion. Here, let me show
Here we go.
myself.
We're
a
straight
Super
getting
Bowl,
off of Dharma Time, by the way.
Yeah, we're not in Dharma Time right now. For those that are true blue Dharma Time people, we'll be right with you in a second. But let me tell you something. A true Super Bowl champion quarterback would have made that pass.
Yeah.
That's the separation
Yeah, he
between a
choked.
Super Bowl
He
quarterback
choked.
and a non-Super Bowl
He
quarterback.
choked 100%.
He's a great guy. I love Jimmy
G.
did good. Jimmy G did good.
Yeah, we'll see.
But
He
you're
choked.
not a Super Bowl champion yet.
No. He
Not
choked.
saying you can't be. It's just it wasn't your day. But
Yeah.
a Super Bowl champion quarterback did exactly what Mahomes did. He took it
No,
from them
dude,
because they were losing.
You're not going to get me to say anything bad about Mahomes.
Yeah,
I like Mahomes 100%.
but no, you did take it away when you said they choked.
They
No,
did.
it was taken away.
Yeah.
They were frightened. They got scared. They started believing in Mahomes' magic. First
We
a little
gave them the
magical,
opportunity.
then the second magical, and then the third one was just a nail in the coffin. But they took it.
We gave them the
No,
opportunities and they
Chiefs
took
it. Chiefs took
So,
it.
anyways, we'll agree to
got
disagree on that
took.
point. Look, your Steelers weren't even in it, so I
Yeah,
didn't want to hear
but
it.
you can't say they you choked and
I can
that's
say
why you
whatever I
lost.
want to say.
You lost.
I can, no,
You lost.
Yes, we choked and we gave it away.
No, you didn't choke. You got
Yes.
beat.
Dude, when you're up 20-10 in the fourth quarter and you lose, you choked.
No,
All you
got
had to do is
beat.
maintain the lead.
You
man.
got beat.
No. Yeah, because we choked. Anyways, I digress. Let's get to the actual.
Whatever. You got Mahomes.
Yeah.
You got Mahomes.
So
you got Moss.
Let me read
multiple times.
Let me read the actual thing that we're doing today. All right, so for those of you who watch either Dharma Time or the Couch Live or know us personally, you'll know that this topic is actually really important to us. This is a topic that's very near and dear to our heart. Matter of fact, I was going to talk today about humility. I was going to talk about the Super Bowl halftime show, things of that nature. But Louis sent me this morning. He sent me a screenshot of the story that is coming through, and it went to the top of the list just because it's that important. I think to both of us.
Yeah. Because we talk about it all the time.
Yeah. So for those of you who are not aware, there was a shooting here. I believe this is the Parkland shooting that happened a couple years back.
Stoneman.
Yeah, it was in Parkland.
Douglas.
Isn't that the Parkland one? I think it was.
There's so many. I know.
Yeah.
Isn't it the same thing? Stoneman Douglas?
Yeah.
Is
I
in Parkland,
think
right?
that's the school, but
yeah,
the
that's
city
the
was.
school.
So regardless, after that took place, the powers that be, the government officials, all kind of got together and they wanted to come up with what they felt to be a response to that, and their response was to mandate mental health curriculum in schools for middle school and high school, grades 6 through 12.
Right.
And
which is a real problem, not the gun.
Yeah. And that was implemented today. Today was the start date. So as of today, if you have a child in 6th through 12th in Orange County, Florida, they are getting 5 hours worth of mental health curriculum starting today. And that mental health curriculum is supposed to revolve around drug prevention, suicide prevention, and coping skills. Those are the three things that I read. The background, from what my understanding is, and once again, I've only started reading up on it this morning, so I might miss a detail or two. Right. But the gist of it is any teacher who is certified to teach is qualified to teach this curriculum. They've had they had some training during their I want to say off season, but during their the summer.
I don't. You still got football in the mind.
During their I don't know what they would call it, the summertime, I guess.
It's called get paid to stay home days.
Yeah, right. So during their off time, they were certified to teach this 5-hour curriculum, and then like I said, it's being implemented today. There's mixed reviews, I think. Yeah. There's mixed reviews from everybody. Some of the teachers like the idea because they think it's necessary. Right. Some of the teachers don't like the idea because their concerns are that it's taken away from actual teaching time for test scores, and that's where a lot of their bonuses and stuff are around. So if your students don't get high test scores, then you don't get bonuses. You get looked at, frowned upon. And the other,
maybe they need a mental health day.
Maybe. And the other reason why they're not exactly excited about it is some of them don't feel qualified to,
because you ain't,
to ask certain questions or answer certain questions or to guide them in the right direction. I think I kind of covered the majority of it. Right. So I got mixed feelings, man, and I know you do too.
Okay, let's hear it.
I know you well. Why does it sound like I'm so low today?
Low in what way?
Like I can't really hear myself, but that's all right.
Dude, you're all the way
I
turned
know
up.
it's that popping thing. It just
No, it's
off
I'm
and
looking
on.
at the level. It's
But-
turn your head up.
Regardless, it's almost all the way up.
Oh, okay.
Remember it goes in and out sometimes.
No, but I'm watching the level.
So I don't know. Let's start with the. You want to start with the positive or negative? What I like or what I don't
I
like?
love positive.
All right, so let's start with what we like.
Yeah.
All right, what I like about this,
Right.
and there's a lot.
Yeah.
Like I really, like, I'm usually pretty good about picking a side, but this
Okay.
one I really am. Like,
wait. Time out. This came from the 49ers fan. I'm usually pretty good at picking a side.
Yeah.
Was he good at picking a side this time, Maynard?
I didn't say I was good at
I
picking
don't
winners.
think so. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyways, so yeah, this one I'm really kind of down the fence, man. Like I don't know, I don't know how I feel about it. So for the positives,
Right.
I agree that this is a step in the right direction.
Yes.
I do believe that some action can be better than no action.
Yes.
I like the fact that they are attacking what I feel to be the root cause.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think it's guns that's the issue. I think it's their coping skills. I think it's their inability to deal with the challenges and the stresses of what it's like to be an adolescent in today's world.
In everyday's world.
Yeah, but it's
No matter what generation you were born in.
yeah. I can't imagine the difficulties I'd be having if I had access to the internet and social media and stuff now. Like
Yeah, but it's still better than every damn adult kicking your ass.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't in generations past.
well, I got that too. So.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know?
But regardless, so I do believe it's a step in the right direction. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's really kind of all my positives, man. You know what I mean? But they're important positives. Like I do like the fact. I guess I have more questions and reservations than I do positives.
All right. Let me start you off. Let me help out the Dharma Guy.
I mean, I like the fact that it is a step in the right
I hear you,
direction.
but I think we need to expand on that. So here's the deal. For generations and generations, Trinity, first of all, kids are to be seen and not heard. Remember that?
That's how it
Kids
still
are to
is
be
in my
seen
house.
and not heard. Now, until I was a parent, I didn't like that.
Of course.
Then I became a parent. And I said, "Damn, what happened to that?"
Exactly.
Bring back
Yes.
bring back the shh. Stop talking.
I have brought that back in my
grown
house.
folks are talking.
Yeah.
That's gone, right?
Yeah.
But we know why it needed to go away.
Of course.
Now people are more emotionally available. Now it may have swayed
Well,
way too far to the goats for us,
They seem emotionally available.
but people are more emotionally available. Men are more emotionally available
Sure.
now than ever before. You're allowed to speak your feelings. You're allowed to cry now, even in baseball. You're now allowed to cry in baseball, whereas before you couldn't.
There's no crying in baseball.
But the point is that never has there been a curriculum to help you deal with life on life's terms until you screwed life up somehow, until
Yeah.
life got
It was
crazy and
usually,
badder for you.
It was usually like a you need this situation.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
preventative in any means.
Right.
And the only thing we had close when I was
Right.
still in school, we had life management skills. But
You
even
did?
that, yeah. But even then, it wasn't coping and things of that
Right,
nature.
right.
It was just like the basics. And
Right.
it was a class that we all didn't take seriously. We
Right.
goofed off. We didn't give a shit.
Right.
That's really what that class was. It was basically an easy A. Is
Like
what we
cooking
looked at.
class or something.
yeah, I
Like
didn't even
shop.
know that. Yeah.
So let's do the football thing since you're still in football mode because you're still crying about your 49ers.
Oh, see,
Then
Tammy just made a great point.
it's a first down. You know what I mean? In other words,
Yeah.
what just happened in Orange County, Florida, and hopefully in other counties around, and
Yeah.
people listen and watch from other areas. We'd love to hear in your area if they put any emotional health kind of classes in place. But this is a first down, and because we now have a first down,
Yeah.
we're able to now rehuddle up
Yeah.
and figure out how to make another
That's
first
the
down.
hope.
Yeah.
Tammy is a watcher on Facebook Live here.
What city and state is she from?
I don't know.
Okay.
She said, I am hoping at the very least just starting these discussions will help break down stigma about using actual mental health services.
Right.
While I agree. I think that that's my positives, man. It really is. I think that it starts a conversation off.
Right.
It enables dialogue.
Right.
It breaks the stigma. It gives kids an avenue that they might not have thought that they had previously.
Mm-hmm.
It starts both parents, teachers, and even kids to start looking at themselves in a different light to say, hey, maybe I'm not just angry. Maybe there's something going on here. Maybe there's depression. Maybe there's other things that I'm not aware of. It starts them to at least look into things other than just, that's a bad kid or whatever.
And I like to call it, to be honest with you, I like to call it emotional health, because even when you say mental health,
there's a stigma.
Yeah. So if you're gonna, if when we go into destigmatizing, usually we start changing words, right?
Yeah,
because
for the most part,
sometimes you really just can't change the stigma of certain words.
Yeah.
Like you can't make junkie sound good.
No.
Right? You know what I mean? There's no
happen.
way to make junkie like, hey, that's a positive junkie.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So we change words.
Sure.
So in mental health, it is an emotional health because we have an emotional quotient. And this all started, Trinity, about 20 years ago. You started seeing research. Probably more about 15 years ago, it started coming out about some of the research of the emotional quotient over the IQ testing. So you started seeing CEOs or large organizations start to test their employees with an emotional quotient, and therefore seeing how they were going to respond to anger, frustration, stress, and therefore be a better gauge at what kind of executive they were going to be, rather than just looking at their intelligence.
Yes. So for me, those are the positives.
Right.
And if somebody's able to truly get help, or if we're able to prevent another mass shooting, for instance.
Right.
If somebody who maybe has doesn't have the circle of influence or the support system
Right.
that we would love for them to have, gets the help that they need, like, that's a wonderful thing, and I'm all for it. Right. I guess where I think we should just jump into the reservations, because they all interlap. So let's
go
just
for it.
go ahead and talk about it. My reservations are quite quite fat. I got a lot of questions, man.
Okay.
And a lot of it echoes what some of the teachers, some of their reservations. The reservations that the teachers really had. The main one that I care about. I don't care about the testing part, because it is what it is. I don't like testing, period. But the reservations that one of the teachers said was, we're not qualified. He felt basically inept in dealing with that.
Good for him.
And I agree.
Yeah.
Like, I agree 100%. It's kind of like when we call the police with somebody who's dealing with a mental health issue. That's not their job. Their job is to enforce laws and rules. So to expect a police officer to handle things in a skillful way as like a therapist would,
right.
You're expecting, that's not their job.
Right.
And that's why they oftentimes go bad, because they're not well adapted to deal with that situation. So for me, when you're asking a teacher who, if they're like most Americans, if they're like most people we come across, they don't have the best coping skills as it is. And so now you're expecting this person who doesn't have the greatest coping skills, potentially, who doesn't have years and years and years of time to develop the skill, because it's not just a read out of a book and tell someone. It's a skill set. You know what I mean? There's an art form in building rapport with somebody. There's an art form in learning to see certain signs and kind of...
Well, even just doing a 5-hour course. We're not asking them to build rapport. Nobody's asking these teachers to build rapport and to be a therapist. They're just asked to teach a 5-hour class. But this is what it reminds me of, Trinity.
Yeah.
And you probably had the same teacher. Do you remember the coach?
You were right
that
there.
taught biology?
You can stop right there. I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, the coaches just put a video and sit down. There you go, guys.
I had a coach teach biology class, right? See, I thought biology was fun, great, and easy until I hit college.
Yeah.
Because in high school, I had a biology teacher that was cool as hell.
Hell yeah.
He was a coach. There it is. There's the frog. Cut it open.
Yeah.
Good job, Lou.
Yeah.
Let's talk about football.
No, my favorite part was all of our eyes would light up when the door would open and that cart with the TV and the VCR would come rolling into the room. We all knew good.
Yeah, I got stoned on the right day now.
And that's the thing is the class is optional.
Right.
There's no grades in it.
Right.
You're not held accountable for anything.
Right.
So I think a lot of kids are going to look at this as, they're not going to take it seriously, potentially. And the problem I see is I think a lot of teachers might not take it seriously.
Right.
I could see it potentially doing more damage than good, actually. Right. And that's what concerns me is why not, if you already have like a school counselor, for instance, why not have the school counselor facilitate this? Why not take an hour out of the day and have them kind of do something? They have things similar to that right now in high schools where they have certain people who come and do peer counseling groups. Why not invest more into that? As opposed to making your math teacher, who is struggling right now to keep the lights on, so they might be working a second job.
Who's boring as hell anyway.
Maybe they're having issues at home. Who knows?
Right.
They're not well adept to handle anything. They're still their coping mechanism is to come home and have a glass of wine at the end of the night.
Yeah, they think 80% of their kids are idiots anyway.
Yeah, and then now you're going to expect that person to, and by the way, I need you to start teaching them how to cope and not kill themselves. Like, whoa, what? Like, I could see And then the other thing that concerns me, and we have the same concern, we talked about it numerous times when it comes to the drug abuse epidemic that we have in this country. My real worry, is that the suits and the powers that be will look at this and say, okay, we're done.
Right.
We've done it. Like, what more do you want from us?
Right.
And they stop.
Yeah.
That's my concern, because, like, no, dude, this is nowhere near. Right. This is, to me, this is the problem where all the other problems are stemming from. Mm-hmm. And so you can't just put a Band-Aid on it and think that's going to stop all the school shootings and all the depression, it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And so my worry is that the people who don't know, because it doesn't feel to me like they've consulted the people who really do know, they kind of just, what can we do? What's our immediate response? Okay. What's the easiest response to do? And then they did it. I'm not saying that they have bad intentions. I'm just saying that they might feel handcuffed. They want to have a response. This is their response. And so my worry is, and this means a lot to me, because I have all of my kids are in Orange County.
Yeah, you got a dog in the fight.
I've got 3 dogs in the fight.
Yeah, you got 3 of them.
And so my real worry is that not all children are going to have the benefit of having somebody such as myself, with my experience, my knowledge, and the people I'm connected to, to where I can handle certain things. Like, one of my 10-year-old daughter just had an issue, which I will not go into detail, but there was an issue like yesterday that my daughter was dealing with. It was a very controversial situation took place, and she turned to certain people in her lives and didn't get what I felt to be healthy responses. But thankfully, I was there to say, okay, well, let's look at this from a different way, and I was able to kind of calm her down. And so my worry is, what if the kid doesn't have that, and they're getting that teacher who doesn't really want to do this, just kind of half-assing it? Like, that's my worry.
Yeah, and that's a good worry. I think it was funny because when I watched it this morning, which gave me the idea, was that teacher, and maybe it's the same one that you saw, the guy goes, well, in every school, in every school, we have that counselor who is qualified that's sitting in their office all by themselves somewhere.
Yeah.
And what, are they just going to sit in that office and just wait for people to come to them?
Yeah.
He goes, if they're already there,
why not have
they're already an employee. Why aren't they doing the class?
I agree.
And my God, will somebody please listen to that teacher? Because it's, by the way, it's a 5-hour course.
Yeah.
So, yes, we move the ball. It's a first down. But it's 5 hours. Exactly. If you're a school counselor and you can't do all of the students in little 5-hour breaks, I don't know what they do. I know what my school counselor did. My school counselor was a dumbass. Can I say it? Can I? Sure. I'm going to say it on your show. My school counselor had the nerve to pull me aside and try to get me out of college track and said, you guys make great mechanics. How about just going to trade school?
Sure.
Pacata. Cabrón. Yeah, because he didn't understand, look, maybe I was having some issues that I was dealing with, young man.
Right.
You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is sometimes school counselors are just sitting in their office, kind of just only dealing with maybe a handful of students.
Yeah. Well,
when they could be more useful.
And even then, real quick, Kevin Morse just commented, and there's a lot of people commenting. I'm doing my best to keep up with everybody, but I'm going to miss some of you. But Kevin just said, I just went to my son's school yesterday for a 504 plan meeting. Do the schools in Florida offer this? Okay. And yes, Florida does offer this. 504 plan is essentially a meeting that you have with the teachers and some sort of mental health professional or doctor or whatever, when there's some sort of, let's say, ADD, things of that nature. Okay. And essentially, you work with the school to put together certain protocol for that student. So let's say maybe that kid needs to have extra time for a test, or they need to be having it read to them, or whatever it is to essentially modify to fit their situation. The problem with that, though, and this is kind of where I'm going to get in the weeds a little bit here. I'm going to do my best to try to be as unbiased as I can. Like, I'm not trying to piss it. But let's just say
say what you feel.
I've been
people
to
watch you
schools.
for what you feel, man. Don't sugarcoat it.
I've been to multiple schools, right? Because I've had 3 kids in different schools. And then I've had other people. I've gone to different schools.
Right.
And while I think that some of the counselors there, I think they mean well. I think they're very good-hearted. They're in it for the right reasons. But I don't know if all of them are as qualified as they need to be. I've spoken to some of them, and in talking to them, and once again, I have the benefit of being like everybody I know is a therapist. Like, and so I've over the years I've learned to kind of see what I felt to be is good.
You've seen the difference between
And
good
not so good.
therapists and not so good therapists.
And
yeah.
so, while I think some of the therapists there mean well,
Right.
I don't know if they're getting the best and the brightest, and I think that is also damaging because sometimes you'll I don't know if all of them are well equipped. I think some of them think that their job is just basically listen and show compassion.
But are they better equipped than the math
Yes,
teacher?
100%.
That's the point, right?
100%.
Right. They're all better equipped than the math teacher.
Well, and my response was to Kevin's thing about the 504 plan is because I've been in on a couple of those meetings. And it's a pain in the ass, dude.
Right.
It's a pain in the ass to try to get your kid some help with some things. I've spoken to other parents. I've seen him,
Yeah.
and he could probably attest to this himself. I don't know how much detail he would like to get into, but the 504 plan in theory is a great idea. But when you start to practice it, most of the teachers don't even know it exists. They don't know how to do it.
Right.
They even question it. Like they're giving their own opinions. It's like, hold up, you're not qualified to give an opinion. Your job is to just implement this plan.
Right.
Nobody asked you your opinion. That's what you're paid for. So it's like it's got its own stigma attached to it as well.
Yeah. I've had good experiences and bad experiences with the teachers of my kids.
Yeah.
Mostly good experiences.
You're famous, and
Right.
I hate to interrupt you, but I'm going to put it out there. You're famous for saying this with a lot of people, and it's pissing people off. But some teachers just suck, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they, like some,
Right.
there's some great teachers, but some of them are just bad.
Well, I mean, you got to. I mean, look. In all reality, isn't that a fact of everything?
Yeah.
I mean, so I know some teachers get
but
upset at
nobody
me
wants
for
to hear
saying.
it,
Yeah,
though.
I know some teachers get upset at me, and I know it's like not cool to say teachers suck, right? Like you're not allowed to say that. For some reason, it's some protected. They're like a protected grouping of individuals. But let's face it, we've all had shitty teachers. Some teachers do suck, and some teachers need to get the hell out of the business.
Yeah.
But I also say that to therapists. You see me get on stage,
yes.
and I'm talking to a bunch of therapists, and I said, if this is you, and I give some criteria of what it looks like, I said, get out the business.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know a few
Leave now.
therapists that I've completely trashed, and I've told others to never go to because it's like you suck, dude. Like you were not in the right profession.
Right. Right.
You might have had you might have had altruistic reasons for getting into the profession, but you're just not good at it.
Right.
You need to go do something. You need to go be a mechanic.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. But at least, Trinity, again, at least it's a conversation. And emotional well-being is important.
Yes.
And here's what I like about it. What I like about it is here we are in a state that gets attacked for being stupid all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like Florida really does some stupid shit. I mean, Florida and its residents are famous for really doing some
But
stupid
you know why that
stuff.
is, though, right? Just really quickly.
Well, you have an answer?
Yeah, it's called the Sunshine Law.
Why? What is that?
Basically, what it was is I don't remember I looked it up one time.
Sunshine makes you nuts?
No. The Sunshine Law is there was a law that was enacted years ago here in Florida, and there's only like 2 or 3 states that have it, and it was basically truth in journalism, essentially, where everything has to be made public record, and so all these Florida man does whatever.
Right.
Every state has that, but we're one of the only states that it's all public record. So you could be in New Jersey and look it up here and talk about a report on it. So every state
So
has.
we're not that stupid?
Every state has idiots. It's just we have the Sunshine Law, which enables our stuff to be out there for the world to see. Just want to put that out there.
I didn't know
But
that.
Yes.
Here I thought that the sunshine draws like bugs to a flame.
Don't get me wrong, there's some idiots in Florida.
like all us idiots like me just all of a sudden, a light, shiny light,
right.
and I came. You know what
No,
I
but
mean?
there are idiots in Florida.
Okay, all
But
right.
there's a law that basically puts our business out there for the world to see.
I didn't know
so
that.
that's why they report on it more often than other places
Right.
because I think there's like 3 states that have it.
Okay.
But anyways, I digress.
But
Go
that
ahead.
Florida man is real. But I guess the point is that at least we're having this conversation. At least our teachers now are having this conversation because here's what I don't like.
Well, look, we're doing a whole show on it.
Right. What I don't like is that we have these serious issues that you and I have been talking about before these shootings.
Yes.
You and I have completely agreed on we need to teach emotional health in schools.
Yes.
And
coping.
In coping skills. Well, I think that's part of it,
Well,
right?
real coping, though.
Yeah.
Not like-
we've had that conversation.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm saying is that a lot of times you'll hear people say, well, that's the parent's responsibility. And you're right. It is the parent's responsibility. But some parents lack the skill set, and that's okay.
Yeah.
They just lack the skill set. Maybe they're good at something else, but they're not good at that part of it. Well, that's when we as a community need to help that parent because maybe they're a single parent. Yeah. You know what? Maybe that parent's working their butt off all day, and really by the time they get home and the kids, it's easier just to give them the toy, shut the hell up, let me chill for a second. I mean, I'm not going to blame the parents all the time. But our life is just difficult and stressful, right? I mean, like it's much easier for me because my kids do a lot of good. They make it easy.
Sure.
My kids have made my parenting easy. Some people go, "Oh man, you and Dana did a fantastic job." I said, "I don't know who did it because I know they must do a lot of it on their own."
Well,
but we have to help support. Where some people just are lacking. That's all.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of touching on a hot button for me on that one.
Okay.
Only because, so what you were saying was basically a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's it's the parents' job, right?"
Right.
And I agree with you that not all parents.
And some parents suck at it.
Yeah, not all parents are equipped at it, right?
Right.
And so essentially, what those people are saying is, "I sure hate it for you. The kid's going to have to suffer because you got shitty parents." That's kind of what they're saying. And so to me, the reason why that hits a hot
You're
button.
going to suffer.
Well, the reason why that hits a hot button for me, anyways, is because growing up, man, I had a lot of issues in my life that not everybody in my life knew how to handle.
Right.
My mom was doing the best she could. She was a single parent. She got me out of an abusive situation. She was trying to do her best, but she also at one point had to work 3 jobs.
Right.
And she I won't go into details, but if you ever heard my mother's life story,
Right.
Jesus Christ,
Right.
I couldn't make that up if I tried. It sounds fake. It's so horrible. So she had her own demons that she probably didn't know how to deal with or whatever. So she wasn't equipped to handle my stuff. But then, other people around me would take sides and things of that nature. They would decide who was right or wrong between my mom or my father, whatever. Meanwhile, the entire time, there was a little boy there that was hurting that nobody fucking took care of.
Aww,
you know what I mean?
That was you.
It was me,
yeah.
yes. And so this idea of, well, it's the parents or screw them, it's not that kid's fault, man. Like, I didn't ask to be involved in all that stuff. I didn't, ask to be ill-equipped for that. And so, for me, it isn't just a parent's responsibility. If you're a good human being and you have the ability to impart wisdom on somebody, it is your job.
Right.
If you see a little child who's struggling and you know that you could talk to that child and offer them some comforting words or something, it is. And if you don't, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put that out there. Like
there's a lot of those walking around.
Yeah, yeah. So no, I think that it is your job because I've done it myself. Even
Right.
I've been like my kids have friends, and their friends don't always have the best of lives. Right. And I'll take them. I'll talk to them. I'll try to impart some wisdom. There it goes. It just popped.
Yeah, it just popped.
I told you.
Yeah, I heard it.
So I'll impart wisdom. I'll be there for them. Mm-hmm. I'll give them my number. I'll be there.
Right.
Matter of fact, something simple. But one of my daughter's friends the other day, it was like a couple weeks ago. I'm sitting at the house trying to get ready to go come to the show, and I get a text message from her asking me if I could come take her to school because she missed the bus or whatever it is. I was like, yeah, of course, I'll take you on my way out of town. But the point is that she felt comfortable enough that she knew she could reach out to me that I would be there and take her to school. It's not my kid. I could have been like, oh, sorry, you're not my daughter. Screw you. But I'm not an asshole.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so this argument that's the parent's job. Stop. You know what I mean? Like if that's your argument, go away.
Right.
Like just stop. And I hope you don't have children.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, it's weird because when I was growing up, and you answer this too, man, because I just want to see it's not a state thing. When I was younger, I don't remember any of my friends or my group of individuals. And Maynard, you can join in because you were in my group in high school. Like, was anyone homeless? You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember anybody that I hung out with that was homeless. However, I can't, and homeless is defined by couch surfing, not having your own residence.
Right.
Right? So even if you know a young person that's couch surfing, they're not staying at their mom and dad's house, they're kind of staying at friends, that's homeless. Yeah. So, but I don't remember. I can't think of anyone, Maynard. So you think about it, but I can't think of anyone.
I can think of 2.
That you grew up with?
Yeah. My mom let them come to the house and stay.
That's amazing because it's amazing how many young men I've met now in my daughter's school that are homeless or can be defined as homeless.
my mom just commented, I tried when you were younger with your friends that were homeless. I can think of 2. One Ray and Cisco.
Wow.
Cisco was his nickname, but Ray and Cisco, they both had a lot of family issues and problems. Wow. And my mom could tell there was something off. We never had a discussion per se, but we all kind of knew what was going on, so she would let them stay over more often than not and give them dinner, things of that nature, like, to help support them.
Well, you know what? Maynard just commented, and Maynard, I did think about that when I mentioned you, by the way. I did think about that if anyone could have been considered homeless, it was you, because I remember you kind of, like, were already, like, living kind of on your own at a very young age. I think you were living with a girlfriend or something like that, if I remember correctly. But you're the only guy I can even think about that. But because you were doing well, at least appearing to me, I didn't consider you homeless. Does that make sense?
Right.
You know, I thought it was cool. You have your own place. You know, I had to go buy my own place and then tell my mom, and Mom, you remember this? We had the party house, and so I lived at home, but I also had an apartment, and so
yeah. I
sorry,
think the other questions I would have for this stuff, though, and I hope if anybody's watching this or listening to this, and you have the ability to get us kind of more information on the specific curriculum, I would love to read that.
Yeah,
because I would love to hear what coping skills they're using, how they're approaching coping, how they're approaching the suicide prevention, how they're approaching drug abstinence or whatever. I'd like to hear the way they're approaching that, because I agree with you, and 5 hours is just not enough. I mean, there's no way you can really make an impact in 5 hours unless you do this for a living.
Okay, so we did talk to somebody earlier today.
Yes.
Eric Schwalbach. We got to give him credit. Eric Schwalbach is a local teacher here in Orange County.
Yeah.
And so what he said, Trinity, was this is basically to elicit discussion.
Yeah.
All right? So this is the beginning, right? Remember?
First down. Yeah.
So this is to elicit discussion. But then it's the professionals in the background that are then there that are supposed to capture and go further with it. He said it is 5 hours, like you mentioned. He said that different schools were doing it differently. And,
I didn't read that. When I read that, it was a state mandate. Yeah,
and he said they're doing it from 6th to 8th grade, but you said it was also high school.
It's 6 to 12.
Okay.
That was the law, basically.
Right.
It says, I have it in front of me here. It says, starting this year, state mandate requires students in grades 6 through 12 to receive at least 5 hours of lessons on mental health, on everything from healthy coping techniques to suicide and drug prevention. Right. Per the mandate, any certified teacher is qualified to teach this curriculum.
Right.
And I will say that it's kind of a misnomer that, and I think we're sometimes, I don't think we're guilty of it, but we're guilty of joking about it, maybe. But it's a misnomer that kids can't be reached, right?
Right.
That's just complete bullshit.
Kids don't understand?
Yeah, there you go. Because you and I both,
like parents just don't understand.
Yeah, you and I both did pay program at different times.
Right.
I have my own experiences within the pay program where it was quite evident that they were paying attention to me and what I had to say.
Right.
And there was also moments in there when I was teaching them where they would mention you and they remembered you from years later. Right. So obviously we both made an impact to that age group.
Oh yeah.
So it is possible.
Right.
My own kids, my daughter, she goes to Colonial High School, and there they have a peer program like counseling. I can't remember. I think it's Aspire that does it, but they have a basically like a.
That's true.
Not really a therapist per se, but I think it's like a therapist in training. They're getting their hours, I believe. But they do like group peer sessions where they talk about nothing too in depth, but kind of the nuts and bolts, like the basics of things. And my daughter gets something out of it.
That's cool.
My daughter gets irritated out of it because every time she comes home, she's like, she was saying the same thing you said. Like I was like, it's because it's true. But
that means that person's good.
Yeah, but the things that she told me, we got a good one there.
Yeah, good.
But the things that she comes home and says, she's getting value from it.
Right.
So for anybody out there who thinks it's a waste of time,
oh man, I still have the camera on me. I apologize, people.
No, you're good. So for anybody out there who thinks it's a waste of time, bullshit.
Right.
Like what I've felt and what I've seen and even experienced myself, that population more than anybody really wants it.
Right.
They don't know how to ask for it.
That's true.
They don't know how to receive it, but they want it.
Right.
They want it more than anybody. And why wouldn't you? As you always said, that age group is probably the hardest ever.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody tells you no.
Worst years.
Nobody thinks you know anything. You're not taken seriously, but you're also going through hormones and trying to figure out who you want to be and what's right, There's so many things going on.
So much.
That you're so desperate for help, but you're also immature, so you don't know how to ask for that help. So what you need is somebody to step in that's going to give it to you whether you want it or not, because you really do, and you're going to listen to them even though you're going to act like you're not. And so I love the fact that they're implementing these things. I really do, and I hope that it is just a discussion. I hope it kind of goes further.
Right.
I hope this is a catalyst for more, because it's something I'm passionate about, man.
Yeah.
If somebody were to come into my life when I was doing my stupid things earlier, I can't imagine the path that I would have been on.
Well, let's be a little honest here. I mean, Trinity, and so if there's any administrators, government officials, or anything out there, your dream gig, I would think, would be if someone came to you and says, Trinity, can you design an emotional health curriculum?
Yes. For youth, yes.
Yep.
If I could work just on a daily basis, if I could be that dude that's just talking to like the teenagers and just kind of hang out with them, help them get their heads right, I would do that in a heartbeat.
I know.
Just because I think that it's important.
I know.
And I think that that's where you can make a real impact.
Right.
If anybody's looking for real fulfillment, man, that's how you get it, is helping somebody.
Absolutely.
You know, we were at a documentary yesterday, man, and I got goosebumps thinking about it. What I love most about the documentary we watched yesterday, and what was it called? It affects us all.
It impacts us all.
It impacts us all. If you go to itimpactsusall.org, I believe it is. Is it .org or .com? Do you remember?
Itimpactsusall.com.
Okay, itimpactsusall.com was a documentary that Lou, you had a lot to do with, man. I think indirectly I had a little bit, but not. It was you.
You were in it.
I was. Yeah.
You're surprised.
I was actually. But to me, what I love most about that, among the many things that I did love the most, and we're getting a little off topic here, but what I loved the most about it was I feel that you and I both spent so much time trying to explain to people what it is that we do with the Now Matters More Foundation, and they captured it. They did.
They really did.
They captured
really
it
did.
more beautiful than either one of us have ever explained to somebody. When they showed, hey, we met this dude while we were down here. We don't know him. You don't know him, but he needs help.
Right.
Let's call you and see what you can do. And it was Graham's voice. On
Yeah,
the phone.
you heard Graham's voice, right?
And I remember when that was all happening. I didn't know it was for that.
Because I
remember going through all that. So, you know, we get them on the phone. We found a place. We offered it to them. We got them. Like, that's what we do.
Yep.
And that's rewarding.
Yep.
And I think that at that point, especially with that particular gentleman,
right.
I think it's a little bit harder. It's a little bit further into his addiction process. But at that point, it was already like 10 years. If you can have that same kind of momentum with somebody who's like 13 or 14 before they get so far into it, dude, you could change whole family trees like that. And so that's what I hope that this does.
And here's why it's necessary. I mean, let's get real. I mean, how many young people today? I remember talking to my kids when they were younger, you know, in that elementary school age group, and Dana and I would ask them about their friends, because a lot of their friends seem to have like divorced parents.
Right.
So he said, well, in your school, how many of your friends are children of divorce? And they're like, God, like we're the rarity. Most everybody. They're like, wow.
Yeah.
And how many of your peers have parents our ages? And they'd be like, you guys are the oldest. You know? And then, so the more kind of questions like that you ask, the more you realize, oh my God, if divorce is hard for an adult, if separation and loss and abandonment is hard for an adult, if the instability of where you're going to live, what city you live in, the newness, the moving is hard for an adult.
Yep.
If the arguments and all that comes with the arguments and all that kind of pain where you're sitting there listening to two people that you care about just like attacking each other is hard for an adult. How hard? Yep. How hard do you think it is for your kid? And at the same time, you're looking at your kid, and some of you like get lazy with it. I'm not attacking you. Here's the reality. Some of you get so, because you're in your own stuff, and you're thinking about how am I going to provide for this kid? Is this asshole just blah, 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 and you're going through all that. But then you think they have it easy because they're kids. Wait till you're an adult, as if it's going to be worse. Like, you know what you just told them? Here's what you just told your kid. You said, wait till you're an adult and you got to deal with this shit. What you just said is, as bad as you're feeling,
right,
life gets so much worse.
Yeah.
You just said to a young person that these are the best years of your life. You better enjoy it now because life gets so bad as an adult. Yeah. Well, that's terrifying because as a kid, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. This sucks. This puberty thing is confusing. This male-female thing is all confusing. This listening to you guys bitch and moan at each other and then blame me for all your crap, or I can't even come out of my room because I don't want to be a part of it. I try to hide out from all y'all. Everything is no, like everything is no. Why? Because I'm an adult. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I have no freedom to move around. I have no freedom to go anywhere. I got to live with you. I can't choose to move. You know? Yeah. That is frustrating.
Yeah.
Even the desk I sit in is told to me by somebody else. Some other adult says, you just sit there.
Yeah.
And then you're telling me that life gets worse? See, think about the messages that young people get. Instead of being told, hey, listen, these are the worst years of your life. Don't listen to any adult. These are the worst years of your life. But here's the deal. If you can navigate these years and you can get through them with some of the right tools, and you can start building upon some of these tools, like how to deal with us, that we as adults are very frustrating for you. Right. If you can learn how to deal with difficult people and yes sir and no sir us to death just to get what you want, which is that paper and that freedom and that age, think about what kind of strong adult you're going to be.
Absolutely.
Because that's the deal.
Yeah.
If you can deal with adults when you're a kid, if you can deal with other kids when you're a kid, if you can get through this whole puberty thing and all that sexual stuff healthy, your life is going to, later on, it's so many choices are your choices, and so many decisions are just your decisions. You're going to be, but you got to start off at a higher playing field, because if you come into it injured, damaged, and cut up,
it's gonna be rough.
It's gonna be real rough. So let's get you as able and prepared as possible, because that's when you're really gonna enjoy life. Because let me tell you something, this adult thing, I'm loving it.
And that's what I hope comes out of these things, right? Because I think that at the end of the day, that's what a lot of people it gets lost in the debate, right?
Right.
When they start talking about guns and gun control and Republican, Democrat, whatever.
Yeah.
What gets lost
It's
is
just noise.
It's not about any of that.
No.
It's a lot of these kids, man, they're hurting.
Right.
A lot of these kids are confused. They're overwhelmed. They're hurting. And like you said, nobody takes them seriously. Nobody talks to them like an adult.
No.
They talk to them like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I don't understand what you're going through.
Right.
But I understand what I'm going through. Like, I got issues, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to do with this.
Right.
Everybody has their cross to bear, right? Like, everybody has their little square. And in that square, it's the worst or the best. And so to not take that seriously, you're undercutting, where they're at.
Right.
And so I think that the problem, though, is a lot of parents grew up the same way. So a lot of parents don't have the skill set. They just don't. You know how many parents I see on a consistent basis who just their coping skills is to essentially ignore or distract? That's their coping skill.
Get high, drink wine, go out party with the fellas, go have sex with whoever you want. There's a lot of adults that's how they cope.
Dude, nowadays the most coping skills are I distract myself on my phone,
right?
On either games or social media,
right?
I have a wine. I gotta have my wine. I gotta have my my whatever,
right?
Or like you said, going out with the friends and stuff, trying to blow off some steam or something like that,
right?
Those are their coping skills, and that's not coping.
Yeah.
That's not healthy coping. Ignoring something and walking away from it, that's not coping.
Yeah.
That's momentary, like dealing with it, but that's not coping.
Yeah. Wake up with a coffee.
Yeah.
And go to bed with wine.
Yeah. And so we can't, as a society, that's something that we have not focused on, man.
Right.
One of the people in the documentary said it best, and I've been saying it for years. For whatever reason, and I can't claim that I own it because I first heard it from Aaron, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, when it comes to mental health, emotional well-being, whatever we want to label it is, and I'll never understand why, but we're a society that for some reason feels that we should pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and just deal with it. Why? It's literally the most complicated thing on the planet is your brain.
Right.
There's nothing more complicated than that.
Nothing.
We have built technology that can get us to space and do all these amazing things. We cannot duplicate what the brain is able to do.
If you could,
it'd be rich.
Beyond belief.
So to think though that you're gonna then just like I'm gonna figure it out, and like we've talked about in addiction, and it kind of goes the same. In addiction, the disease controls you, hijacks your brain. So you think, I can put it down. No, you can't. Like that's your brain lying to you, so it can keep getting what it wants.
Right.
Well, I would argue in the same. If you're emotionally scarred and you haven't healed from it, well, you telling yourself that you're just fine,
right?
You're lying to yourself.
Right.
You're not just fine. You're making yourself believe that to get through the day, but you're really not. And if you look, all those things that you think you're okay with, it's affecting your decision making. It's affecting how you deal with your kids. It's affecting how you deal with life. It's affecting your responses. It's affecting everything, and you're not even aware of it.
Right.
And so, we can't expect those people who have zero coping skills to then deal with their children,
right,
and give them coping skills.
Right.
It's a lot to expect. And so I'm not surprised that when those kids then turn into adults, they've got a lot of issues, and they're they get into drug addiction, they get into a crime, they get into just the system, and they start getting benefits and welfare, things of that, because they were never given the tools. And that, to me, I don't blame the parents, I blame us as a society. We don't do a good job of taking care of our really old or our really young. We just don't. We kind of ignore them. We don't want to be bothered. We get so caught up in our own stuff. And so, yes, I do believe that the greatest thing that comes out of this so far is going to be, look, we're already having a show on it.
Yep.
And we got a lot of listeners right now.
Yep.
A lot of people are commenting.
Yep.
And so I'm hoping that this catches fire. It gets some momentum and it starts. And I know there's a lot of other people. I would be remiss if I didn't mention them. The Seagulls, good friends of ours, they got the Victory Club. And the Victory Club is all about,
I can't wait for that.
I know his main focus is drug testing and get them, to stay away from drugs.
Right.
But I think that what's going to stem from that, I think that's going to be the catalyst that starts all these other things and getting healthy coping skills and stuff like that. I know we're going to do our best to try to talk to them to be involved. So there are people doing things.
And by the way, that's a national program, the Victory Club.
Yeah.
It's a national program, so anybody listening right now, be watching out for that, because they're not going to quit. They're going to do this. Mark Marrow has already has gone and done his talks. I mean, this has already started.
And not that he needs it, but to gas him up just a little bit.
Mark?
Yeah. He's a good guy, man. I met him before. I actually went and sat in his office a while back, talked about his gym and whatnot. And then him and I had just such a good interaction. He invited me to come to one of his talks. Had no clue. I mean, I kind of remember him from Weston a little bit, but he wasn't like the big star, so I didn't really know too much about him. And he told me he did this thing at schools where he kind of talked to him, and I've always been passionate about helping him. So I was like, yeah, all right, I'll go. Had no clue what I was getting into. I just show up to the school. I came in there, and I see him. He sits down, and then he proceeds to get up on stage. And holy shit.
He's energetic, man.
Dude, that man, like, as far as public speaking and stuff goes, I could tell that he's had years of WWF.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah.
And he was impactful.
Right.
His story meant something.
Right.
And I saw firsthand the relationship he had.
Right.
He cares, dude.
Right.
And it comes off. Like, the kids were coming up to him.
Right.
They had stories they wanted to tell. They were hugging him. Some of them were crying. Him and I are friends on social media, so I see his posting and I see other people comment. Like, the dude is making an impact on today's youth.
Yes.
And so that's another example of it can happen.
Right.
But I do believe you need the right people. I don't think you can have just anybody go make an impact, because if you're not truly passionate, that's the thing about kids, dude. They're like the ultimate lie detectors. They can smell genuine.
I love that.
Like, oh my God, dude.
I love that.
If you are not genuine, or if you don't really, they'll pick you out from a mile away. It's kind of like those old school like cop shows where they can tell if somebody's a cop. You know, like, oh, you're 5'0", I can tell. You know, kids, man, like, they can tell if you really care or not. If you don't care, don't even waste your time doing it, because you're not going to be impactful. They're going to laugh you out. It's just never going to work. And to me, I think that's what it takes. Is you got to be genuine. You got to really care and be passionate.
Right.
Even if you're not fully equipped, you can still be impactful because of that genuineness. Because sometimes that's all the kids need. They just need to know that somebody truly cares.
Right.
And that's the way I approached when we were doing a paid program.
Right.
When I first started doing it, I wasn't even thinking end results. I was just thinking, you know what? I think a lot of these kids just don't think I'm going to care. I just wanted somebody to know that in that room, you met at least one human being that cared. Period.
I remember that, dude. I remember that phone call so well the first time you did that for me.
Oh yeah.
And you were like, "What do I talk about? Whatever, man. Just go do it, man. You know, you'll figure it out." Yeah. But I remember that phone call and how excited you were.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they injected you with this payback deep inside your heart that just like, I think it completely changed you from that point forward.
I know for me, going into it, I did question how impactful you could be. First of all, it's an hour and a half. Like, let's set up the standard shit that nobody knows.
Yeah.
It's an hour and a half on a Friday night.
Yeah.
None of them want to be there.
Nah. They're there because they got arrested.
Yeah, exactly. They're forced to be here.
Right.
They are all trying to be as cool as they could possibly be to show out in front of everybody else.
Show off to the others. It's male and female, so there's that going on.
Yes. And they're anywhere from 13 to 18.
Right.
So I literally had one time a little itty bitty 13-year-old. I'm like, oh, you're just you're a baby. I can fit you in my pocket. Yeah. And then you have the 18-year-olds who think they're grown and want to argue with everything.
Right.
Like, it's literally like the worst nightmare of most public speaking. It's like, that's who I got to talk to. Right. And you're not just talking to them. You're trying to make a connection. You're trying to make an impact. Mm-hmm. And they're all expecting, like, it's literally like, it's like one of the worst situations to walk into unprepared.
Yeah.
And
then you do two back to back.
Yeah. With completely different groups.
Completely different groups.
Yeah. And so you got an hour and a half. That's all you got. Make an impact. And you'll never see them again. You got literally 90 minutes. Go. And then, of course, you got you, which I guess I'm humbled in the sense that you have so much faith. But on the other half, sometimes it's like,
that's how you do it, man. You
like,
throw you in the fire.
Yeah, I just go do it. You'll be fine.
You'll do it. I gave you a couple of things, and that's about it.
But I remember distinctly I think the one you're talking about, because I had a lot of good experiences.
I'm the very first one.
But there was one in particular that I remember that one of the groups, both groups that night were great, but one of them, after I was done talking, Like I couldn't make this up if I tried. I don't even believe it still to this day. They like stood up and they gave me like a standing ovation. They got up and they clapped. They cheered. Like that was the most amazing thing ever. I was like, hold up, what? These are kids. They're like 13 to 18. They don't want to be here. And they got up and cheered. And so to me, it just reinforced my belief that they can be touched.
That's hilarious, man.
And I mean that, in a non-weird, creepy way. By the way.
Yeah, in a non-Biden way.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't smell anybody's hair.
Yeah.
But no, they can be spoken to, man. If you're genuine and you care and you got the right message, you can get through to them.
Right.
And I think that's the takeaway from today. I don't have any tips for today, but I think that's the takeaway.
I think, listen, like we've said, and I'll shut up. I think, again, this moves the ball forward, and I think it's amazing. I think the real key element about this whole thing that Orange County is doing is that it elicits discussion.
Yeah.
It begins the conversation, because my belief in most issues is you have to talk about it before things can get done. But at the end of the day, I'm not a talker. I'm a doer. So at the end of the day, as long as we're talking to get somewhere, because if you're just going to keep, please shut up.
Yeah.
But as long as we're talking about it, then we can move it just a little bit further. And I think, look, like you said, we talked about it on this show today. I think they're talking about it on every news channel today in Orange County, because this just happened. Go to your school boards, go to your PTA meetings, go to your parent discussions, and ask about emotional health groups, emotional health classes. Let's keep it going. Anyway, this is where it begins. We'll eventually get where we need to get to. Right now, it's only 5 hours. Hopefully later on, it's a class from kindergarten all the way through high school that's just there.
Yeah, just a couple things to mention. I see some people coming on who are saying they're just tuning in. By all means, later on today or tomorrow, the show will be up on YouTube. You guys can watch the full edited version. You can share it with your friends, things of that nature, if you think it was impactful. But the other takeaway I would say is just that it does work, man. Kids are reachable. And I think that the positive is that we are on the right discussion. We're no longer talking about taking away things. Taking away time, taking away guns, no, we're talking about giving now. We're giving you education. We're giving you tools, and I think that's the right answer. And as a parent, the best way you can help is to listen to your kids, is to encourage them to go to these groups and classes, because it is optional. Encourage them to go. Encourage them to ask questions. And when they get home, I do a thing with my kids every single day I see them. I say, hey, what did you learn today? Ask them. Ask them, did you go to that group? Did you get anything out of it? Anything you want to talk about? And then for yourself, do some intrinsic growth. Look at your own coping skills. And if you don't want to do it for yourself, then do it for your children. Learn how to cope in a way that's healthy. Learn how to cope in a way that's not going to hurt you or the people around you. Learn to something sustainable. A glass of wine at the end of the night is not sustainable, man. It just isn't. Ignoring things and just kind of burying yourself into your phone or whatever, that's not sustainable. It's going to kind of come to an end at some point, nor is it healthy. So I would say yes. That's the takeaway for today, man. Is I hope that this is a catalyst for things to come. I'm kind of excited. I love the fact that I live in Orange County, apparently, because I found out yesterday through our documentary that we're so progressive in so many ways, and for that I'm grateful. And I hope we continue. So I think that's all we got. Now that you know better, do better. And until the next time, peace. Are you still here? What are you doing? I told you, go do better.